Hi, welcome back. My name is Caitlin. I'm doing a no by year. If you're into that kind of thing, I hope that you'll subscribe if you want to. No pressure. There's been a couple new releases that have come out. They were released. That's what a new release is. Anyways, there's been a couple things that have come out that have sort of thrown me back to the makeup days of the past. Wow, this is off to a great start. Era 2016, 17, 15. Back when I first started watching YouTube, I feel like these were all the rage. So we've got liquid lipsticks that are drying down to like a matte finish, super shiny highlighters. So the Rare Beauty one, for instance, Charlotte Tilbury, I feel like their highlighter that just came out is super shiny. So it kind of sparked in me a desire to go back and pull some old makeup from my collection. I am a hoarder of makeup. Well, okay, it's not quite hoarding levels bad, but I hold on to makeup for far longer than it's probably meant to be used. I went back to my drawers and I pulled out a bunch of stuff that I am now going to put on my face. We'll just sort of talk nostalgia. The first thing I'm going to put on is base, and I pulled some things that are just like, I feel like had a hold on everyone back then. So, Chanel, Vita Lumiere Aqua. I feel like everybody and their mother had this. By Terry Cover Expert. This is discontinued. It doesn't even exist anymore. And of course, this is still the same bottle that I had all those years ago. I should probably get rid of it, but it doesn't have like a funky smell. Like, it smells like it always did. I think because it has so much fragrance in it, it would smell up it would cover the smell of anything bad anyways. I don't know. NARS Sheer Glow. I'm not entirely sure that this is the same one that I had. This might be a newer bottle. I think the first shade that I had wasn't really a match, but this is the shade Mont Blanc. And of course, Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Plus. Everybody loved a matte face. Just for the heck of it, and because I don't really want a matte face right now. So although I'm using older makeup, I'm still gonna put it on like how I would if these were new products today. So I think I'm gonna go with the Chanel. This is the shade 12 Beige Rose, and I pulled out the Gemma Kid brush, the like flat top, and I guess I'm just gonna use this to put it on. Is anyone else feeling like, I don't know, you know how fashion comes in cycles? Like, everything right now is basically 90s fashion, but then I feel like even in the 90s, weren't we just bringing back around 70s fashion? Like, bell bottoms came back into style, and I remember my mom sort of saying something like, can't we just leave all of these fashion choices behind? And now with all the 90s stuff coming, because like that was when I was a kid. I was born in 89, so the 90s is like grade school time for me. But I'm looking at all of the things that kids these days are wearing, and I'm just going like, no, can't we leave these fashion choices in the past? Like super wide leg jeans, like, I don't know. I'll keep my skinny jeans, thank you. But then I also feel like I saw Like, are skinny jeans already coming back too, even though like most of us never left them behind to begin with? Where was I going with that? So anyways, does makeup just run on cyclical things too? So like we're coming back to, you know, matte skin, but they're calling it something else. It's not really matte. And just like bringing back stuff that, you know, we thought we left behind. There's the foundation. Should I zoom you in? Okay, so it's not really dewy. It's not really dewy. It's not matte. It's kind of more like a satiny finish. I don't remember that being the case. For some reason I was thinking that because it's called Aqua that it would be more of a dewy finish, but it is not dewy. The concealer that I would have been using back then would have been the NARS Creamy Concealer. I don't have any of that. So in place of the NARS Creamy Concealer, I'm just going to use the Kosas Revealer Concealer. This is the shade 1. Hopefully these formulas go together. I'm just going to use the same brush to sort of blend that out. I don't really mind that some of the fashion stuff is coming back. You know, just because it's back doesn't mean that you need to wear it. But I know that, like, even though it might not be your like ideal fashion choice, maybe what you would want to wear could sometimes be hard to find in stores, so like that's the thing that kind of sucks. But I don't know, it just kind of cracks me up. And then you have like all these younger people raging about wide leg jeans. Like, girl, I had Jenko jeans, okay? Where when it rained, your pants were so soaked, like up to your knees. Okay? You did not, like, you are not the first one to have those. Jenko jeans, man. Those were where it was at. I remember I, like, begged my mom to let me get some, and maybe I ended up having to, like, save up money to get them, but I finally got a pair. Like, the real Jenko brand pair. Man, they were just, I felt so cool wearing them. Eyebrows. So I just tinted my eyebrows so I don't really need to fill them in. I feel like Hourglass, the arch one, this may not be as old as some of this other stuff that I'm using, but I feel like it's old enough and it sort of encompasses like Anastasia Brow Wiz days, you know? Or like if I wanted to throw back way back when I like first learned about filling in eyebrows and you used an eyeshadow to do it. So like MAC Omega, MAC Wedge, you know. I don't even think that I ever used, did I use brow gel on top of it? Maybe I just used like a clear brow gel. So The only clear brow gel that I have right now is the Kosas. So I'm just gonna run that through them. Something that I do still have of Anastasia is this like double-ended brow highlight. Like, oh my goodness, remember when you would put MAC Shroom on your eyebrow bone? Just like illuminate it to the heavens. So I'm gonna use the matte side, I guess. I never really got into like Instagram brow just because like these are my brows. I don't really do anything to them other than pluck some stray hairs. So like this is the shape that they are. They're a little bit sparse, but if I dye them, you know, it's fine. Let's see, I think I'm gonna do eyeshadow next. I pulled quite a few. Okay, first of all, Burberry Pale Barley. I feel like maybe it was just the YouTube that I was watching, but this was like the shade. It's like it was the beginning of my love of taupey bronzies. It helps that I have blue eyes because like all of the things just sort of made my eyes pop. So another one is the NARS Kalahari duo. And yes, this is like the original. They actually still swatch out pretty well. And Charlotte Tilbury, when her quads first came out, Dolce Vita. So I have a lot of them, maybe 5 or 6 of them, but I feel like Dolce Vita is the one that had a hold on everyone, and in particular that shade. They are just like really beautiful. This is a throwback. The Dior Quince I feel like had a hold. This is Greige, like the perfect neutral palette. And the first I think of like anticipating holiday releases, or the first that I remember of that, the Laura Mercier eyeshadow palette. Like this I feel like is cult. And then of course the eyeshadow palette that started it all, the Naked. This is the original like velvet thing. Look, you can tell I barely even used it. I actually think I used the Naked 2 palette more. I think I'm just gonna use the Naked palette. So of course you have to start with the Urban Decay Primer Potion. This is a fairly new tube, so this isn't as old as what all the makeup is. I actually quite preferred it when it had a squeezy tube. I'm not in love with the doe foot applicator. I feel like you just can't get the last of the product out. With a squeezy tube, it was much better in my opinion. And then also at that time was like when I first discovered Wayne Goss online. So when he released his original brush sets, like I bought I think 2 sets. I spent way too much money on them, but I still love these brushes and I use them all the time. So I think like overall they were an investment, but I still wish I maybe hadn't spent as much money on them. Alright, I think you just gotta do what's expected and go with Naked and a little bit of Buck and put it in the crease. I'm not sure. I feel like I remember Urban Decay being like pretty good formulas. I mean, it was like the first eyeshadow palette really that I ever used. So I don't know, I think they're like decent formulas. Other than Urban Decay, I think the only experience really with high-end would be the MAC singles. I bought so many MAC singles because, you guessed it, Jaclyn Hill. Pretty sure she was like the first beauty tutorial that like I ever came across. I think I'm gonna go for kind of a just darker look. So I'm gonna go in with Toasted. Does anyone else feel, you know, in the movie Mean Girls, speaking of nostalgia, where when they're all in the gym and like talking about feelings and stuff, and like raise your hand if you've been personally victimized by Regina George. Not that, okay, I don't want to sound horrible. Not that we were victimized by Jaclyn Hill, but I feel like she was one of the very first influencers, and I guess this kind of goes with the theme of like de-influencing, but pretty much anything that Jaclyn recommended, I felt like I needed to go out and buy. So she did a bunch of videos of like, if I was like starting fresh with makeup, here's all the things from MAC that I would buy. And I had like just graduated college, and like I had my first big girl job where I was making, you know, not a ton of money, but like money enough that I could buy things. And all through high school and college, all of my makeup fit into one little bag, and it was all like, the only face makeup that I ever used was Bare Minerals, you know, the powder foundation, swirl and tap in the lid, you know, and then I never wore blush. The bronzer that I used was just like Warmth, whatever the Warmth shade, and I'm sure it was probably actually quite orange on me, like that's all that it was. And I used that CoverGirl, the like trio of basically all shimmer, like taupey shades, and just like that was my makeup. Maybe I threw on some eyeliner, mascara, I don't know. It's just crazy how like I was perfectly fine with that being the makeup that I used, and then all of a sudden I start watching YouTube videos like Jaclyn Hill, Nicole Guerrera, I think is her name, and then of course you have all of the British, the like, were they called the British gang? I don't know. Tanya Burr, Zoella, Estee, Lily Pebbles, the Anna edit, as she goes by now, but I think it was like Viviana Does Makeup. Like that's what I was watching. I don't know, it's just crazy how things change, I guess. I don't know, I feel like I'm rambling. Okay, so there's the eyeshadow look. I just did a little bit of Hustle in the outer corner, and then some of Gunmetal also in the outer corner, and just like deepened it up a little bit. It's definitely like pretty subtle. Like the most natural of eye looks that I would do. Like I can't even really remember the last time I did an eye look that's this natural. I don't really have any eyeliner that I necessarily recall being from that time. So I'm just going to put on some mascara. Right now, one of the ones that I have open is the Maybelline Lash Stiletto, which this is pretty old school because I'm I remember buying it in college, maybe my last year of college or like right after I graduated. Maybe it was new at the time, I'm not really sure, but I remember using this one. It's not my favorite. The brush is actually quite prickly. Like when you get as close to your lash line, I feel like it kind of stabs it in a not pleasant way. Oh, I guess I should go in. I should do some of Virgin on the brow bone, or maybe Sin, maybe a little bit of both. Although I already put that Anastasia one on. Ooh. Is it time to get rid of this? I'm not sure. I feel like my eyelids feel kind of really dry right now. I don't know if the eyeshadow is to blame for that though. Let's talk bronzers. I pulled a few. Okay, first of all, the Body Shop Honey bronzer. This is the shade 02. The packaging broke, I feel like almost immediately after I got it. So like this was a big thing that I remember. And then obviously Benefit Hoola. I honestly don't even know that that would be a, well, okay. I guess that might be a good shade for me. I feel like I remember it being not a good color. And then I also have the Guerlain Terracotta bronzing powders in 02 blondes and 04 sun blondes. The sun blondes was when I first like discovered and realized that a bronzer more on the red side is more believable. This one has like pinks in it, the 02 blonde, so it also is kind of more believable. Like I don't really tan, I burn. So that's the 04. It's the 02, 02, 04. But I also remember these just being like super shimmery. So I think just for the heck of it, I'm gonna go in with Hoola. I'm gonna use this Wayne Goss number 11 brush and hope that this isn't a super mistake. Oh, yep. Orange. It's orange. I don't understand how everything turns orange on me. Okay, can I wipe this off? Oh, now it's patchy. Okay, so I think I've discovered that I need to just declutter Hoola. Okay, I think I'm gonna go, since that was a failure, I'm gonna go in with the Guerlain 02 blondes and pray for a better outcome. Gosh, you know how sometimes you just like can't tell? Not the best, not the worst, I guess. Okay, I think maybe my eye's starting to water from that eyeshadow, I think. So maybe I need to get rid of it. Although it's like 10 years old, so of course I probably do. Okay, what else is old school except for the Kevyn Aucoin sculpting powder? This is the shade medium. I got this before they even have the lighter shade. I'm gonna go in with the Wayne Goss 02 brush and just yeah, that brings back. Okay, also, does anyone else have the Wayne Goss brushes and they just like start shedding like crazy? I feel like I'm just getting hairs all over my face. Oh yeah, sculpt it. Yep. This is also way back before like cream products, anything. So like everything is powder. I feel like my face is getting drier by the second. Also, I guess I pulled out a couple powders to use. I have the Laura Mercier, the Secret Under Eye Brightener. But like, I feel like my under eyes feel dry enough that I don't need to add powder on top of it. And that Chanel foundation was also pretty dry that I really don't need to add powder on top of it. Okay, blushes. So Benefit was just like all the things. The Rocketeer, like when that first came out, that was huge. And then I also have a couple Tom Ford blushes I feel like were pretty popular on YouTube. This is the shade Ravish. It still swatches pretty nicely, so like I think it's probably still fine to use. I got the Tom Ford, the new blushes where it's like double-sided, and I really just did not like them at all. Also, Tarte, oh my goodness, Exposed, like the original of all nude blushes for my skin tone at least. And then so Charlotte Tilbury came out with all of her eyeshadow quads, and then of course the nipple blushes, the Cheek to Chic Swish and Pop. This is First Love. Also just like the perfect nudie blushes. So I think I'm gonna go in with the Charlotte Tilbury one on a BK 104 brush. I feel like there's lots of things happening on my cheek that I don't know if it's all going together or not. I feel like that contour really... Well, okay. Might just need to wash my face after this. And just for the heck of it, let's go in with a little bit of this on top. Thank goodness we're almost done, because all of these powder products, I feel like my face is just being sucked of moisture. The powder is just sucking all of it up. Highlighter. I pulled 3 that are like so reminiscent of the times. First of all, the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish. This is the Lightscapade shade. So it was like the first that I remember paying attention to when MAC did collabs with celebrities. So this was with Hailey from Paramore. So there's... Wow, is that even showing up? That one. And then of course, Mary Luminizer from The Balm. Whoa. So shiny. And then Kevyn Aucoin Candlelight. I feel like also just had a hold on everyone. I think I'm just gonna go with the Kevyn Aucoin one. The Mary Luminizer I think is just too gold. Like it would look too dark on my skin right now, I think. So Candlelight. Whoa. Yep, that's a highlighter. Last, lips. I pulled some lipsticks that I still have from then. So like KVD, the liquid lipsticks. This is the shade Outlaw, the red of all reds. I don't really pull off a red lip well. I don't know why I bought this. I also bought the Rihanna and MAC Ruby, what is it? Oh, Riri Rue. So matte. I'm swatching these horribly. And Makeup Forever, the Aqua Rouge. The thing where like you put it on and then it just like never comes off. I actually quite like that shade. That's like the kind of shade that I would go for. And then of course the Revlon Just Kitten the Revlon Just Bitten lip stains in the shade Honey. So I think I'm just going to use this because honestly I can't deal with a long-lasting lip color right now. I feel like stick balms like this are also coming back, like the Tower 28 released one. And I have one from when, I think the holiday of 2022 they did, or was it before then? Whatever, like Sephora lip kit that they did, and the Tower 28 had a balm in there. I got it. I think they actually reformulated before they released this latest one, but there's Honey. It actually turns like quite pink on me. Let's add some more powder on my face. As a finishing powder, the Guerlain Meteorites. I love the smell of these. They're like sweet tarts, but I feel like this, just like finishing powders in general, so like all of the Hourglass ones, and then this, which like actually ends up kind of just adding shimmer all over your face. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this walk down memory lane with me. It was fun to pull out these products and sort of remember what it was that I liked about them. Obviously I found a couple things that I don't like. I probably didn't like then and I just held on to it for whatever reason. But I hope it was entertaining for you, maybe. I don't know. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.